So if you're wondering what's in the box, it does belong to George. Stay tuned for the series. If you're not watching it, check out the Mugen Civic. There is more to come in that car. Alright, so this S2000 has a little bit of a story. I did a video on this before, but I'm not sure if I uploaded it. But this belongs to a customer, and what is really sad is it had a really nice OEM hardtop that somebody stole off it. And prior to that, somebody had took all of the soft top mechanism out of it, so it's completely gone. You can see this is one of the brackets for the hardtop, but everything was taken out so that when the hardtop was stolen, he had nothing to cover it up. So he has been essentially putting a tarp on this ever since. Valve cover is all missing the paint. This has been probably modified in the past because there's certain things that are not put back. There's a bolt missing right here. You see the bracket for the airbox, so it's being taken apart and put back together. We're gonna go through this thing, see what we can do, see if we can bring this thing back up to spec. As you see, the paint looks a little sketchy too. It could really use a good detail. When I say sketchy, this is all water spots. It's from sitting outside. It really needs a good clean and a polish to bring it up to a nice shine and be protected. But we're going to take this apart and find out exactly what is missing and what else we need, and probably start hitting up our favorite salvage yard for some of the small items that are missing. There is a big plastic panel across there. There is some metal trim. I'm sure there's more stuff once we take it apart, but let's go take a look. There's one thing, it has every variation of clip that Honda make, all in the same vicinity. It's terrible when somebody takes them apart and don't put the right clips back. So after removing most of the interior, we can now see what's going on. Some of the wiring is still there, but a lot of the structure is being taken out. So we're going to do a quick test fit of the frame and see, without having a car here to sit in side-by-side comparison, we believe there is a piece that goes across here. As many of these as we've done, we don't take the hoops out to install the frame typically, but the hoops had been removed before and were loose. So now's a perfect time to put them back together and put them in right. Here's your seatbelts, by the way. If you're asking us to do our red seatbelts and wonder why it's so pricey, that's where the seatbelt mechanism is. All of this has to come out to change that. Alright, so test fit in the top here. We just cut the back section off so we can see what's going on, where all the bolts go, and the frame all lines up. Everything goes back the way it should be, so we should be in good shape. We managed to locate the metal pieces and plastic panels from here, just called TAE. That means I gotta drive all the way to Plant City and go see my buddy Jamie and pick those up. Thanks again, Jamie, for pulling all those parts.
Plant City?
Plant City.
Plant City.
Is there a commercial about that? So, this actually looks cool right now. If we was to leave this and just secure it, if you put the side windows down, this is like a Roadster with a bit of a...
Yeah, like we were saying,
it's like a bimini.
buy another tarp, like you had a tarp on it, you just buy a small tarp.
That's like a bimini top on a boat.
Yeah.
It'd actually be quite airy on a nice, nice cool day. So, absolutely. All right, we're in good shape. I'll go drive halfway across the state, go get those parts so we can stay on track with this, get this customer back together and get him going. He's going to be so excited to have a top back on this. I mean, the car needs a little bit of a detail and a paint correction, but when it has a new top on, it makes all the difference. All right, so I just came back from TAE. These are the metal pieces that we need. There is 3 of them, and then that plastic piece was missing, so managed to get those. Thanks again, guys. Oh yeah, picked up a K24 A2. So quite an involved job. A lot of things have to come out, a lot of things go back in. George is just smoothing down the head of the rivets, just so as it rolls back and forth, there is less wear on the top, but basically putting things back together at this point. All right, so this is a burnt gasket off a friend of mine's. His turbo Porsche. It keeps blowing these gaskets. Well, he bought some hardened copper here, so we're going to actually make a few of these gaskets, duplicate them, make them out of this material. He's going to give them a shot because these are a tricky size to get. They're using a GT2 turbo, I believe. So let's go ahead and start making some.
So it comes through easy?
That little hole's not enough.
He likes to chug it. You know what you should do, George? Put a hole in here and put it to your mouth.
I'm gonna shake it up and then poke a hole in the bottom.
I was gonna say, like do like a keg stand or
something. I don't know how you do it with coffee. I mean, it's a good thing. It'd make good viewership.
It would.
Yeah, so he modified his coffee.
Burn myself.
There we go.
That's where you can sip at that end or that end. It's a dual sipper.
Yeah.
So thank you again. Esther brought me a coffee. And this is like the built-in pop top. It's awesome. As soon as you pick this thing up, Look at this. So it tricks you. You think you can drink out of it. As soon as you pick it up, the top comes up.
Yeah, it's done that like 4 times. Sorry.
It's more than that. It's done 3 times on film.
Well, that's
Look
you
at
are
that.
squeezing it a bit.
Okay.
Be careful now.
Yeah, I'm barely touching it right now. Yeah.
It's exciting.
And then if you squeeze it a little bit, oh, it's fixed. Oh, there it goes.
Ah, that sucks.
Guess I'll be drinking it like a regular coffee right now. All right, so this will look like a continuation, but it's not. It's actually a separate day, actually a separate week. This car's back. We're going to do the motor mount and the ball joints. This is the one, I think, didn't we vacuum all this tree work out once already? Yeah. Is this the one? Timing gear seal. We've got to vacuum this while it's in here. So this is actually a regular customer, and he came in for an oil change. This car is getting a few miles on it, and his wife primarily drives it, which you have to love that when somebody else is enjoying the car as much as you do.
Yeah.
So obviously they park it under a tree and it collects a lot, which probably means there's ants all over it too. For some reason, ants seem to gravitate towards piles of leaves on S2000. So let's get the motor mount. I don't remember which one it is. We'll see it once it's up in the air and replace it.
Just one, right?
Yeah, it was just one. This was one that had all the oil leaks.
Yeah.
Again, I need to revert back to that video, which you'll know it because you're watching the video, but this was one that had a ton of oil leaks. So I did this somewhere in another video, but I don't remember if I uploaded it. But anyway, jacking points on S2000s, if you look here, get the camera to focus, you see there is a double pad right there. It's like a reinforced section. Use that for your jacking point or a lift point. This area here, you see often, this isn't actually a good example, but usually this material here will be folded over where people try to jack it. You see a little bit there, but usually it gets damaged pretty bad. And it's because they're not using the lift points, which there is one in the front right here. See, it's a double.
I think this is the big thing too, because if you look at the double thing here and there, so this
is
I believe
often
also is a jack point. Like,
yeah,
you can use that as well. But if you get it just wrong and you put it like just over a little bit, because these always get folded.
It rolls over. We see this a lot. Yeah, but this is the point that we use. We don't have any issues with that. Motor mount, you still see the oil. We pressure washed this a lot too, and it's still got that residual oil. Which is the motor mount that's blown? Is it this one?
Yeah, it's that one. I just took a little hunk
of
it.
Yeah, okay.
It's lowered.
Yeah, you can see how it's squashed in. We'll pull it out and show you, but there's a big chunk missing out the top here. Alright, so that's what it looks like. That's a separated, it's not a broken mount, it's a separated mount. And as you see, it's actually rusted in there. It's been apart so long. Well, we talked about this on a past episode, but I never remember how long ago that is, so I'll tell you again. They won't actually come completely apart. This sits on here like this. This is obviously your cushion, but this piece goes over. It's kind of like a guide, and it's got a hook under here, so it can't come all the way out. Obviously, it's not going to have the same cushion, but you see this lip right here. Doing this one-handed, so it's a little cumbersome. This sits under there. See that? So it actually comes up on this piece here, so it can't actually separate. So that's the reason for that. But of course, you're going to get a lot of vibration, and this leaks the fluid out. Usually a telltale sign it's bad. You'll see this is wet all the way around here. This has been broken for a while, and we did pressure clean it the last time. So this is the part number for the new mount. Now they are kind of pricey, but they are the smoothest mount. I don't have any issues with these unless you're drag racing. Go with this mount. Most of the other ones cause a lot of vibration and make the whole dash shake. These are perfect. We do them a lot on the 400 horsepower S2000s, and like I said, unless you're drag racing or doing a lot of heavy duty racing, road course kind of thing, these are fine. Just replace it and go with that mount. Just wanted to show you this again because it is one of those little things that you don't think about that Honda's already engineered in there. You see how that wraps around the mount, so when this is bolted together, this can't separate. It's got an air gap around there so it doesn't vibrate. See the gap there? But it doesn't come apart. It actually locks onto that tab. It's actually in 2 spots right there, you see that? This is some of the engineering that goes into these cars that you don't realize until you actually see it fail and see that they've actually thought about this, and it's prevent the engine lifting up. If not, the engine would lift all the way up and probably bounce against the hood and damage the engine and damage the hood. So very cool, very clever thinking by Honda. All right, so something a little special here. You're not gonna guess what this is. Well, this is probably a giveaway, but anyway, this is the Civic that we called the 70-year-old's sleeper. A lot of people were confused by that title. The owner was 70 years old, and we called it his sleeper because he kept it pretty much stock looking. 300 wheel horsepower and a complete normal looking Civic that still runs and acts like a stock car, nothing too crazy. But this is back. The new owner brought it here. We're doing basically a service on the supercharger, flushing the fluid and changing the filter. The filter is right here. We're flushing the fluid, hence why there's no filter. Someone's going to go, hey, there's no filter. That's because the reservoir is here and we need access to it. So it's getting flushed and a new filter, and we're going to kind of look it over, make sure everything's happy. He does have plans of possibly bringing this back to us for maybe some modifications. We'll talk more about that in the future, but I'll show you around this car when we finish it. We put it outside, but I did want to kind of show you and do like a follow-up from that. If you check it out on YouTube, we did 2 parts, and it's called 70-year-old's sleeper. Check it out. All right, so this is the first bottle that we sucked out of it. I'm putting it into a clear bottle so you can see it. This should be like a bright blue color, and as you see, it's like a gray and black. It's almost like charcoal black. So this is one of the reasons I like to be on top of oil changes and change it more frequent than the book says. This is obviously the Rotrex oil only. You can't put conventional oil in this. So let's do another flush, and I'm going to show you what the fresh blue oil should look like to give you an idea how dark it's gotten. So that's the color, what it should be. Look at that, it's the exact same color as your shirt.
I bet if I spill it on my shirt,
You
that's
won't
gonna
even
look
see
different.
It'll disappear completely. It's the exact same color.
Yeah.
So that's the color it should be. So obviously as it starts to get dark, you'll see it darken up, but this one is like dark black. So we're going to flush it until we get fresh blue coming out of the return hose, till it's 100% circulated and it's fresh in there. Well, you need more than one bottle. You need a filter and you need to do the work. As you see, we're not charging anymore, but we're using more than one bottle right here.
See in the bubbles there that it's blue.
It's got a color to it. Let's pour it out. This is bottle number 2. This is another 12 ounces, obviously. Actually, I think these bottles are 16 ounces. Yeah, this is 16. So it's probably 14 ounces. Let's get another comparison. Still dark, but you can see a little bit of a shade of blue now. Pour it over there, you see it's got like a purpley blue. It's better. It still needs one more, I think, to get it to come out bright blue. Obviously, we're looking out the hose and it's going to mix with this, so it's going to look darker. But as we're pumping it out, we can see the color change, and that's where we want to be, where it's nice and blue. All right, bottle number 3. So it's coming out blue out towards the end of that run there, but you'll see the whole color is starting to get more and more blue to it, more translucent. But now it's flushed. The fluid coming out of the return now is bright blue, but you can see this is about where I would change it, where it starts to get that dark bluey purple. I don't know how many miles this has on it because it's 2 owners now, but this is a real important service to do if you own a Rotrex supercharger. Change that more frequent. We just flushed 3 16-ounce bottles through it, and it's just now come nice and clean blue. So definitely worth doing a service. And if you're going to do the service yourself, I'd probably recommend you buy 2 bottles, even though it's kind of expensive. 1 bottle might not be enough to flush it correctly. Look at that, you can see the sign and the reflection. Look at that. So we're actually getting ready to go home and turn the lights off. Just wanted to mention, just as a tease, it's not as much as a tease, just kind of like I can keep reminding you, the famous LHT intercooler manifold for the Jackson supercharger. Stay tuned, we're going to be announcing more on that soon. We're kind of preparing to do a small run of these. We're waiting for some parts to come back from the CNC shop, and we're preparing some of the parts that's needed to try and streamline a little bit. But stay tuned, we are going to talk about our intercooler for the Jackson supercharger. We get asked about it. Many people have been given us a lot of feedback from past owners and also future people that are looking for that modification, and we'll talk about it and we'll announce it and give you all the details, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, hit the subscribe button. Like I always say, trying to help build our channel. We're bringing more content. We'll try and keep it interesting. Talk to you soon. I'm John from LHC. See you in the next video.